We are so excited to take another step in the journey towards a post-COVID world. And we know that we are not there yet, and yet we get to take another step towards that as we see the Supreme Court's ruling of last weekend opening up the possibility of indoor gatherings for churches in California. And so what that means for us is, as leadership, we thought through how can we engage as many people as possible and yet do things together. And so here's what we're going to do starting this Sunday is we are going to have one service in 4 venues, one service at 10:30 as we gather together, but we're going to do it in 4 different locations. We will have our location as we continue to gather outside. We have our canopy set up. It's a place where we can be dry. We can spend time worshiping together. We will have our venue set up inside where you can gather and worship there. We will continue on as we make our live stream presentation available online. And then lastly, our 4th venue is what we call our drive-in church, where you can come, you can spend time here and participate what's going on, and yet be in your car if that's where you feel most comfortable. We broadcast within our parking lot. It doesn't go all over town, but in our parking lot, you can participate on 94.1. So again, that's one service time because we think it's important to do this together, but in 4 venues because we want to engage as many people as possible, regardless of where they are in how they feel comfortable in large gatherings. And so that'll start this Sunday. And the way it'll work is our worship team will be leading worship out under the canopy. That's where the musical worship will be presented. That will be streamed via video into the auditorium. And then when we come to the end of that, we're going to make a quick transition between having the stream going from outside to inside to have the stream going from inside to outside, because the preaching will take place in the auditorium and then be streamed out to the canopy, out to our outdoor venue. Now that transition is going to be as quick as we can make it. Pastor Tom's been working. He's done a really, really great job of setting it up so that transition can happen rapidly. So we don't end up with something like this. But instead, we can flow from one to the other as seamless as possible because we recognize that people are watching via live stream and we want them to stay engaged during that transition. Now, this change also impacts the way we do kids and student ministries as well. So what will take place is kids will have 2 separate classes that will be gathering inside, a class for toddler through 5-year-old, and then a class for kindergarten through 5th grade. Those will be in 2 separate classrooms in the kids ministry wing. The check-in for that will be in the lobby of the auditorium. You can go at the beginning of the service or prior to the service, check your kids in. They'll be taken care of for that whole service time, starting at 10:30. Our student ministry will be participating in worship, in the musical worship during our church service. Starting at 10:30, they'll either be inside the auditorium or outside under the canopy. And then when the sermon begins, the preacher will dismiss those students. They can make their way from where they are to the chapel, which is where they'll have a lesson geared specifically for them. And so again, we believe wholeheartedly that God calls us to be the church and he calls us to gather together. And we've been gathering together all the way along. It has looked different. It's taken on different forms, but we've been gathering together. We've been spending time in worship. We've taken communion together. We've spent time in the Word together. Now we get to do it in 4 different venues: outside where masks will be recommended, inside where masks are required, live stream, drive-in, in all things gathering together so that we can help each other take our next step in following Jesus. We'll see you this Sunday. We want you to come. We want you to bring someone who needs to hear about the hope that we have in Jesus Christ.